I
Yeah.
love this.
Yeah.
I love this because having dabbled in various types of photography, for me, the most challenging type of photography is product photography.
Oh, yes, super detailed. It's one of those things where the purpose of the image isn't to entertain, or not necessarily primarily to tell a story, although it,
Mhm.
it should in some respects. The purpose is to sell something,
Yeah.
a product. So how do you make a photograph that's going to sell that image? And this was a good shot because, of course, it's a ice cold bottle of Perrier. So you've got the ice and you've got that citrus element in there. We with this bottle, if you're shooting in the studio, you take your bottle and one of the secrets are you give it a really thin coat of Vaseline, and then you take a spray bottle with a little bit of water and a little bit of glycerin, which is like a oil, and you spritz the bottle. The drops of water bead up on the bottle to make it look like it's super chilled. Um, and part of it is just facade, but the idea is to create a reaction, and that's what I like about this shot is that it does that. And a lot of times, product shots are uh, people can really inspect them, and that's why
Mhm.
you want to make sure that you've got the best, all those details looked after. Is the bottle lit properly, is the label lit properly? In this case, the label Perrier is actually foil, so it's very reflective, so you want to make sure you don't have any foil reflections that are just bright white hot spots. Again, one of the great things about shots like this is that it challenges you technically. And how do you know part of what I've always said is that making a photograph, especially a product shot, is just overcoming a whole series of challenges.
Hmm.
And if you approach it as that kind of process, you just accomplish all of these tasks to solve these solutions, and you're left with a good shot. And a great shot that's conveys its conveys its message quickly and effectively in terms of advertising. Well, that's a win-win.
Yeah, I love that, and no pun intended with the ice, but it's like tip of the iceberg, right? You're looking at this image,
Yeah.
and you don't see the hours of labor that went into just
It's-
creating this one shot.
I always say it would be great for a lot of these shots if the consumer or the viewer could actually be able to push the image back and see everything around it, to see all of the different things that are set in. So we've lit, I've got a light table lit from underneath, and there's ice on top of it, and there's big plastic underneath to collect the melting ice water. There's little gobos or shades to block light in some areas, and little bits of mirror to bounce light into other areas. And it's just all outside the frame, which I love.
There's when I first started with photography, of course I went to YouTube to learn a lot of everything.
Yeah.
And the one channel I watched was Carl Taylor Photography, and he does a really good job of like showing you kind of the behind the scenes in the studio of doing these product shots and how he
Yeah.
got them. And it just blows my mind the setup. So much work goes into product photography. It's crazy.
It's great. And it's sort of, I've in the past have shot both tabletop product stuff like this and also, person, fashion, or corporate work. And they're just both such different processes.
Mhm.
The tabletop product is very uh, methodical and minuscule, and you're working with little bits and pieces here and there, and you're taking your time to do it. And working with people is quite a bit different. It's very off the cuff, and you're trying to capture a moment that's very, perhaps unrehearsed, and two very different processes, but both equally enjoyable for me.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of product, like a lot of construction goes on, right?
It's true.
Like you
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really funny, and I know we shared studio space, and there's a Calgary photographer named Jean Perron, who I used to just he specialized in tabletop product stuff, and I could just, if I wasn't busy, I could just sit in the studio and watch him work, because the way he put things together, was amazing. He was, I always tell my students, you're majoring in photography, but you're minoring in engineering. And you're
Yeah,
also, in the terms of people stuff, you're minoring in psychology and having to establish that connection with the subject. So
yeah, absolutely.
it's kind of all over the place, which is great. Keeps it interesting.